Overreacting to small threats. Today, when you jump at a small noise, spiral over an unread message, or imagine the worst-case scenario from something minor, it feels irrational, an overreaction, a flaw in your wiring. But this mistake isn't a mistake at all. It's an ancient reflex forged in a world where hesitating even once meant dying. Early humans lived under constant threat. Predators, rival tribes, venomous animals, unknown sounds in the dark. The brain evolved a rule that kept our ancestors alive for thousands of years. If something might be dangerous, treat it as deadly. A twig snapping could be a lion. A fast movement could be an ambush. A shift in the wind could signal a hidden predator. The nervous system learned to fire fear before analysis. React first, think later. 1,000 false alarms were worth it if one real threat was avoided. Overreacting wasn't a flaw, it was insurance. But in the modern world, the threats changed, and the reflex didn't. Now it fires for emails, crowds, notifications, social awkwardness, deadlines, uncertainty. The brain can't distinguish between emotionally uncomfortable and physically dangerous, so it treats both as survival events. What seems like anxiety is actually a hyper-efficient alarm system that never turned off, and the same instinct that exaggerates danger also shapes how we judge people, pushing us to make instant decisions about strangers long before we know anything real about them. Judging people instantly. Today, judging someone too quickly is considered shallow, unfair, even morally wrong. But your brain does it automatically, often in less than 200 milliseconds. Before you form a conscious thought, your mind has already labeled a stranger as safe, dangerous, attractive, untrustworthy, dominant, weak, or worth avoiding. This isn't a modern flaw. It's an ancient survival mechanism. Early humans didn't have time for slow impressions. A single glance had to answer life or death questions. Is this person a threat? Are they strong? Are they sick? Are they from my tribe or an enemy group? The brain evolved shortcuts, rapid judgments based on posture, expression, symmetry, movement, scars, size, and even micro-behaviors. These instant stereotypes helped our ancestors avoid danger, choose allies, and navigate a world where hesitation killed. But the cost of this speed is accuracy. The mechanism that once protected us now leads to overgeneralization, bias, and unfair assumptions. Your brain categorizes people not to be mean, but to be efficient. It doesn't care about fairness. It cares about survival. Snap judgments aren't personal failures. They're prehistoric algorithms running on modern hardware. And the same ancient system that forced quick social decisions also drives another wrong instinct, the relentless craving for high-calorie foods, even when we know it harms us. Craving high-calorie foods. Today, craving sugar, fats, and oversized portions is labeled as lack of discipline, a personal failure in a world obsessed with dieting and self-control. But this instinct isn't modern weakness. It's one of the oldest survival drives the human body carries. For nearly all of human history, calories meant life. Food was unpredictable, seasons were brutal, and starvation was a constant threat. Finding something sweet or fatty wasn't temptation. It was triumph. Sugar meant immediate energy. Fat meant stored fuel for days without food. The humans who craved it survived. The ones who didn't. So evolution wired the brain to reward high-calorie foods with intense pleasure. Dopamine surges, memory circuits light up. Your body says, yes, more of this. This keeps us alive. That same circuitry still fires today, even though the threat of starvation is gone, but the instinct remains unchanged. Your brain is operating on Stone Age programming in a supermarket world. It can't understand abundance. It only understands opportunity, and it treats every dessert like it might be the last one you'll see for months. This craving isn't gluttony. It's an ancient hunger algorithm running on modern fuel. And just like our bodies overvalue high-energy food, our minds also overvalue information about other people, driving an instinct often seen as toxic today, but essential for survival back then. Gossip. Gossiping and talking behind others' backs. Today, gossip is labeled as petty, toxic, or immature, something people shouldn't do. But humans gossip because our ancestors had to. For early tribes, information about others wasn't entertainment. It was survival. Knowing who could be trusted, who was unreliable, who broke rules, who was dangerous, or who was forming alliances meant life or death. In small groups, one disloyal member could collapse the entire community. Gossip became an early warning system, a social radar that protected everyone from betrayal, conflict, and exploitation. The human brain rewards gossip with dopamine because sharing social information forged stronger bonds. If you exchanged secrets, you weren't just talking, you were solidifying alliances. You were building your inner circle. You were mapping the tribe's power dynamics. Gossip is ancient social technology. It kept predators out, cheaters in check, and group cohesion strong. The instinct persists because humans still rely on reputation to navigate relationships. It's not that we love drama, it's that our brains evolved to track danger through conversation, and the same instinct that once protected the tribe from betrayal still shapes human behavior today, especially in how we respond to a different kind of power, dominance. Attracted to social dominance. Today, being drawn to power, confidence, and high-status individuals is often criticized as shallow, as if admiring dominance means you lack depth or intelligence. But this instinct is ancient, automatic, and deeply wired into human survival. For early humans, aligning with a dominant individual wasn't vanity, it was protection. High-status members controlled resources, shelter, safety, alliances, and access to food. Choosing the right leader, or the right mate, could determine whether you and your offspring lived or died. So the brain developed shortcuts, a strong posture, a steady voice, calm under pressure, signs of competence, signs of decisiveness, signs of control. Your instincts label these traits as attractive or reassuring long before your rational mind forms an opinion. This is why charismatic leaders can influence crowds, why confident people seem more trustworthy, and why power often gets mistaken for value. Your brain evolved to follow those who looked capable of guiding a tribe through danger. Today, this creates problems: blind loyalty, manipulation, idolization of status symbols, and attraction to people who can harm more than help. But the instinct isn't stupidity. It's ancient risk management. And just as status shaped alliances and protection, another instinct shaped relationships on an even deeper level: the intense, uncomfortable force we call jealousy. Feeling jealous or possessive. Today, jealousy is labeled as insecurity, something unhealthy, toxic, or irrational. But jealousy isn't a character flaw. It's one of humanity's oldest survival instincts, built long before relationships became emotional partnerships. In early human groups, losing a mate meant losing resources, protection, alliance ties, and reproductive opportunity. For men, it meant risking raising offspring that weren't theirs. For women, it meant losing support in a world where raising a child alone was often impossible. The cost of infidelity was survival, not heartbreak. So, evolution created the mate-guarding instinct, a deep, automatic emotional response designed to protect bonds, defend partners from rivals, and secure investment in offspring. Jealousy wasn't about control. It was about keeping your lineage alive. This instinct triggers hyper-awareness, noticing subtle shifts in attention, tone, micro-flirtations, or distance. The brain scans for threats long before your conscious mind can reason through them. It's not weakness, it's detection. But in the modern world, this primal reflex clashes with our expectations of trust, independence, and emotional maturity. What once ensured survival now often creates conflict and misunderstanding. And the same instinct that once protected your closest relationships also fuels another ancient behavioral reflex, one that shaped entire societies: avoiding people who seem different. Avoiding different people or behaviors. Today, avoiding people who look different, act differently, or come from unfamiliar backgrounds is considered prejudice, a moral failure. But the instinct behind it isn't rooted in hatred. It's rooted in biology. For most of human history, the greatest threat to a tribe wasn't war, it was disease. A single pathogen brought by an outsider could wipe out an entire group. If someone had unusual markings on their skin, a strange smell, unfamiliar clothing, or odd behaviors, the brain treated it as a potential infection risk. This became the pathogen avoidance reflex, a built-in alarm that made early humans wary of unfamiliar traits. This instinct wasn't about superiority. It was about survival. Staying close to your group meant staying close to shared immunity. Staying away from outsiders meant avoiding novel diseases your tribe had no defense against. Even today, this reflex subtly shapes human behavior. Research shows people become more prejudiced when they feel sick, when they smell something unpleasant, or even when they see signs of contamination. The brain quietly shifts into infection prevention mode, and social judgment follows. This instinct explains everything from historical tribalism to modern social discomfort, a biological echo of ancient immunology. And just as disease shaped fear of outsiders, danger shaped fascination with violence, creating an instinct that still pulls us toward dark stories, battles, and conflict simulations. Being drawn to violence in stories or games. Today, enjoying violent movies, intense games, or dark stories is often judged as disturbing or unhealthy, as if curiosity about conflict means something is wrong with you. But this instinct isn't broken. It's ancient training. For early humans, violence wasn't entertainment. It was a constant possibility. Rival tribes, predators, territorial disputes, resource fights, danger shaped daily life. Those who mentally rehearsed threats were more prepared when real danger came. The brain evolved a system that rewards simulating conflict, predicting danger, and imagining worst-case scenarios. When you watch a fight scene, read a survival story, or even imagine a confrontation, your mind activates the same neural circuits used in real threatening situations. Heart rate rises, muscles prime, awareness sharpens. You're not enjoying violence. You're rehearsing survival. This instinct helped humanity develop strategy, cooperation, hierarchy, defense tactics, and even moral rules about harm. Stories allowed us to practice danger without dying from it. Every tale of battle, betrayal, or heroism taught lessons before the lesson had real stakes. In the modern world, that instinct hasn't faded. It's simply moved into media, games, and imagination. The brain still uses simulated danger to stay sharp. What society calls wrong today once kept our species alive. See in the next video. Mouth taping looks ridiculous and sounds even worse. A $6 roll of tape that can supposedly fix sleep, reduce snoring, and improve oxygen intake? To many people, it feels like a wellness prank. But behind the weird aesthetic, there's real biology.